In a world teetering on the edge of chaos, where ancient secrets and futuristic battles collide, one unlikely hero must face enemies beyond imagination and confront his haunted past. As explosions shake the earth and shadows lurk behind every corner, will he find the strength to fight against impossible odds, or will he vanish into the darkness forever? Get ready for a story packed with adrenaline, mystery, and unexpected twists that will keep you guessing until the very last moment. The battle for survival has just begun. Are you brave enough to join the fight? Please wait. Before we start, tap that iCard button in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button. Right now, hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. All right, let's dive into the story. The roar of distant explosions shattered the fragile silence as Liam's eyes snapped open, his body instantly tensing with years of ingrained reflexes. Dust swirled in the faint, gray morning light filtering through the jagged cracks of the ruined tent. His heart hammered in his chest, each beat pounding like a drum in his ears. The nightmare faded like smoke in the wind, replaced by the harsh reality of war. The smell of burnt metal, the distant crackle of radio chatter, the distant screams of wounded soldiers. Somewhere, far off, another explosion echoed, and Liam's mind refused to fully wake, caught in a half-remembered nightmare he couldn't quite shake. He pushed himself upright, the gritty fabric of his undersuit sticking to his sweat-slick skin. His eyes darted around the chaos of the battlefield. Craters gouged into the earth, wreckage smoldering, and the sky above a sickly orange glow from the fires burning in the distance. His squad's makeshift perimeter was a mess of crumpled debris, shattered equipment, and broken hopes. His fists clenched tightly, trembling slightly, as he fought to suppress the shuddering memories. The last thing he remembered was yesterday's chaos, fighting alongside comrades he'd sworn to protect, battling the Greek forces that had pushed them to the brink. A crackling voice came over the comms, sharp and urgent, slicing through the fog of exhaustion. "This is Captain Mira," it announced, her tone steady but laced with tension. "All units, listen up. The Greeks are regrouping. Expect heavy movement within the next hour. We need to hold the line band UI time. No mistakes." Liam hurriedly grabbed his rifle and gear, every movement automatic after years of training. His fingers fumbled slightly, a sign of how much fatigue and adrenaline still coursed through him. Around him, the squad moved with practiced efficiency. Krill, the stocky Diraxian, cracked a grin as he checked his weapon. "Well, Liam, I'd say you're not exactly winning any beauty contest with that face right now." Liam shot him a quick glare, voice rough from sleep and stress. "Keep your wisecracks to yourself, Krill. We've got bigger problems." His tone was sharp, but beneath it, a flicker of camaraderie still shone through, the kind that only soldiers in the trenches could truly understand. The squad's leader, Captain Mira, continued, "We'll push forward at dawn. The civilians are evacuated, but we must hold this ground. The Greeks are desperate. They're throwing everything they've got. Stay sharp." Her luminous skin dimmed to a cool blue and purple hue, a subtle signal of her focus. It was her way of not giving away their position, blending into the shadows of the ruined landscape. Liam looked toward the horizon, where distant flashes lit up the sky. The enemy was gathering strength. He could feel it in his bones. The previous day's fight had been brutal, a relentless push and pull of life and death, turning the landscape into a nightmare of craters and burning wreckage. He remembered the way the Greek war beasts had charged, the drone swarms that nearly overran them. His squad had fought tooth and nail, but even the most seasoned soldiers knew that this was only the beginning. He clenched his jaw, eyes narrowing as he watched the enemy's silhouettes moving in the distance like predators circling their prey. His mind flicked back to the stories of the Greek forces, how ruthless and relentless they were. "They're not going to give up easily," he muttered under his breath, his voice low but filled with grim determination. Beside him, Krill's grin widened. Well, if they want to fight, they're about to get one, the Diraxian said with a chuckle. And I hope they brought their best, because this human's just getting started. Liam shot him a half-smile, though inside, he knew the real battle was just about to begin. The early morning light cast long shadows over the battered terrain as Liam's squad moved out in formation, their armor creaking softly with every step. The air was thick with smoke and the scent of charred metal, a grim reminder of the chaos from the previous day. The distant rumble of artillery echoed faintly, punctuated by the occasional crackle of weapon fire and the sharp, shrill cries of retreating enemies. Liam's senses were heightened, every sound amplified, every movement scrutinized. His eyes flicked over the landscape, scanning for signs of Greek reinforcements or any signs of civilians still trapped in the wreckage. Krill, ever the brash Diraxian, broke the tense silence with a grin, swinging his plasma rifle onto his shoulder. Well, Liam, I'd say you're not exactly winning any beauty contest with that face right now, he quipped, eyes twinkling with mischief. You look like you've been rolled through a blender. Liam shot him a quick glare, voice rough from sleep and stress. Keep your wisecracks to yourself, Krill. We've got bigger problems than your humor right now. But beneath the gruffness, Liam couldn't help but feel a flicker of camaraderie. They'd been through too much together for petty banter to lose meaning. Captain Mira, walking just ahead, kept her luminous skin dimmed to a tactical blue, her eyes sharp and focused as she studied the terrain through her HUD interface. We'll push forward at dawn, she ordered, voice calm but commanding. The civilians are evacuated, but we need to hold this ground. The Greeks are desperate. They're throwing everything they've got. Stay alert. No mistakes. Her tone brooked no argument, and the squad responded with a collective nod, knowing all too well that every moment could be their last. Liam's gaze drifted toward the horizon, where distant flashes of light flickered like the eyes of predators watching their prey. The previous day's fight had been brutal, an unending barrage of drones, charging war beasts, and relentless enemy soldiers. His muscles still ached from the chaos, but adrenaline kept him moving with purpose. He remembered how the Greek forces had pressed fiercely, their armored units pounding the earth, trying to break through their defenses. The squad had held barely, but each victory had come at a cost. Wounded comrades, broken equipment, and the ever-present threat of annihilation. He clenched his fists tightly, jaw tightening as the memories surged. They're not going to give up easily, he muttered quietly, voice laced with a grim resolve. Beside him, Krill chuckled softly, the grin never leaving his face. Well, if they want to fight, they're about to get one, the Diraxian said boldly. And I hope they brought their best, because this human's just getting started. Liam shot him a side glance, feeling a flicker of respect beneath the teasing bravado. It was moments like these that reminded him what they were fighting for, to survive, to push back the chaos, and to protect the civilians still hiding in the shadows. Suddenly, a distant rumble interrupted their thoughts, a low, ominous growl that grew louder with each passing second. Liam's instincts kicked in, and he instinctively slowed his pace, eyes narrowing as he scanned the terrain. The enemy was regrouping, bringing reinforcements, and they weren't about to let this be an easy victory. His squad's formation tightened their weapons at the ready. Stay sharp, Liam ordered quietly, voice steady but tense. They're not done yet. Krill's grin widened as he cracked his knuckles. Good. I was just getting bored of all this waiting nonsense. Let's give them a show they'll never forget. The squad moved forward, each member aware that this day's fight would test their limits. Each step a dance with death, each breath a fragile gift. Liam's mind sharpened, prepared for whatever chaos awaited. The battle was coming, and they would stand their ground, fighting not just for survival, but for the hope that someday this nightmare would end. The sun had barely risen, casting a pale, sickly light over the battered battlefield as Liam's squad took cover behind a jagged ridge. The ground trembled beneath their feet with each distant explosion, and the air was thick with dust, smoke, and the metallic tang of blood. Every breath they took felt heavy, weighted with the dread of what might come next. The Greeks were relentless, their forces circling like vultures waiting for the kill. Liam's hands gripped his rifle tightly, knuckles whitening with tension as he watched the horizon where enemy units moved like dark shadows against the dawn. Krill, ever the jokester, nudged Liam with his elbow and whispered, "You know, if we survive this, I'm going to write a new song about how I outsmarted the Greeks. The Diraxians' triumph, I think I'll call it." His grin was wide, eyes twinkling with mischief, even in the midst of chaos. Liam rolled his eyes, but couldn't suppress a faint smile. "Save the ballads for when we're safely back home, Krill. Right now, we need to focus. The Greeks won't wait for us to get our act together." Suddenly, a sharp crackle over their comms snapped everyone to attention. "This is Captain Mira," came her voice, calm but edged with urgency. "Enemy units are advancing from the east. Prepare for a flank attack. We need to hold the line, no matter what." Her tone left no room for debate, and Liam could feel the weight of responsibility settle heavier on his shoulders. Their squad exchanged tense glances, instinctively moving into battle formation, weapons at the ready. Liam's mind raced. Yesterday's fight had been brutal. Drones swarming overhead like angry hornets, monstrous war beasts charging through the debris, and soldiers fighting desperately to hold the line. Today, the Greek forces seemed more organized and more savage. Every second that ticked by felt like a countdown to chaos. His eyes flicked toward the distant horizon again, where figures began to emerge, shadows growing larger and more defined with each passing moment. "Reinforcements. Looks like they're serious this time," Krill muttered, voice low but tinged with excitement. "They're not just testing us, they want to break us." Liam nodded grimly, knowing the truth. The Greeks had nothing to lose, and they were fighting like their lives depended on it, because, frankly, they did. The squad's commander, Mira, had a calm yet fierce expression as she barked orders. "Pull back to the secondary defensive line. We'll buy some time here, but I want every one of you ready for the worst." Her luminous skin dimmed to a deep purple hue as she activated her tactical shield, a faint glow emanating from her figure. The squad scrambled into position, every member aware that this was the moment that could determine their fate. Liam's gaze drifted back to the enemy advancing, sharpened weapons gleaming, war beasts snarling and stomping through the rubble. The Greek soldiers fought with ferocity, their faces twisted with rage and determination. It was clear they wouldn't stop until they had crushed everything in their path. He clenched his jaw, feeling a surge of resolve. "They're not going to get past US," Liam declared, voice steady despite the pounding in his chest. "Today we hold our ground. We fight for every breath, for everyone waiting for us to come back." Beside him, Krill cracked his knuckles, grinning fiercely. "Well, then," he said with a wink, "let's give them a show they'll never forget. I'm ready to dance with the devil if it means keeping us alive." Their banter was a fragile thread of normalcy amid the chaos, a reminder of who they were: soldiers, friends, survivors. As the enemy drew closer, the air thickened with anticipation. Liam's pulse pounded in his ears, every nerve on edge. The battle was about to ignite in full force, and he knew that what they fought for today would ripple through the threads of their story forever. They were ready, or as ready as they could be, standing shoulder to shoulder, hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and unbreakable resolve. The fight was coming, and they would face it head-on, no matter the cost. The deafening roar of explosions echoed through the valley as Liam's squad surged forward, their boots pounding against the scorched earth. The chaos was relentless, drones whirring overhead, war beasts charging wildly, and enemy soldiers shouting orders in a language that sounded like a thunderstorm. Despite the mayhem, Liam's mind was razor sharp. Every instinct honed to a single purpose: survival. Sweat trickled down his brow, mixing with dirt and ash, but he kept moving, his senses on high alert. Every step was a calculated risk, every second a gamble in this deadly game of cat and mouse. Krill, sprinting beside him, was still cracking jokes amid the carnage. "You know, Liam, I've always wondered, if I yell surprise before shooting, does it make the fight more fun?" His voice was loud and boisterous, a stark contrast to the grim silence of battle. Liam shot him a sharp glance, but even a small smile tugged at his lips. "Save your jokes for after we survive, Krill. We've got enough on our plates." Krill chuckled, raising his plasma rifle and firing a burst at a charging war beast that was closing in on them. "No promises, Captain, but I'll do my best to keep it light." Behind them, Captain Mira's voice crackled over the comms, calm but commanding. "Hold the line. The Greeks are pushing hard, but we're not giving up without a fight. Keep your heads clear. We're almost there." Her luminous skin shimmered faintly in the chaos, her presence a beacon of focus amid the storm. Liam knew she was right. This was the moment that could turn the tide or end it all. Every soldier in their squad felt that weight pressing down, but they pushed forward anyway, driven by desperation and hope. Suddenly, a barrage of enemy artillery erupted nearby, sending shockwaves through the ground. Liam gritted his teeth as debris rained down around him. "They're trying to break us apart," he shouted over the din. "Don't let them." The squad responded instinctively, regrouping behind a fallen piece of wreckage, weapons blazing to keep the Greek forces at bay. Liam's eyes darted left and right, catching glimpses of wounded comrades struggling to crawl to safety. His heart clenched. Every life lost was a scar on their collective soul. Krill, panting but undeterred, grinned fiercely. "I've got a bad feeling, Liam. Like, these Greeks aren't just fighting, they're desperate. We're more than just targets now. We're the last obstacle between them and whatever nightmare they're trying to unleash." Liam nodded grimly. "Then we make sure they regret every step they take. We hold this ground, no matter what." His voice was firm, a rallying cry cutting through the chaos. He fired his rifle with precision, each shot echoing like a beat in a war drum. Suddenly, a massive war beast burst into view, a hulking monstrosity with glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws. It roared deafeningly, smashing through debris with ease. "Krill, watch out!" Liam shouted, but before he could react, the beast lunged. Krill dove to the side, narrowly avoiding the swipe, laughing nervously. "Hey Liam, maybe I should get a pet war beast of my own. Think I'd be a good dad." The absurdity of the comment cut through the tension, momentarily breaking the suffocating dread. As the beast snarled and swung again, Liam fired a well-aimed shot, hitting it squarely in the shoulder. The creature bellowed in pain and retreated, giving the squad a moment to breathe. Liam's muscles ached, and his mind was racing. This fight wasn't over yet. The Greek reinforcements were closing in, and their numbers seemed endless. He knew they had to dig deep, summon every ounce of strength, and stand firm. His voice, steady but intense, cut through the chaos. "This is it. We fight, right here, right now. For every fallen comrade, for every civilian still counting on us. We are not going down today." Krill raised his weapon, grinning wildly. "Then let's give him hell, Liam. Time to turn this nightmare into a story of victory." The squad surged forward, a roaring wave of determination and defiance amid the storm of war. Every shot, every step, every breath was an act of rebellion against despair. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting to make sure their story didn't end here, in the shadows of destruction. And as the battle raged on, Liam knew that whatever came next, they would face it together, unbreakable, unwavering, and ready. Amid the chaos of the battlefield, Liam's squad pressed forward with relentless determination, their boots pounding against the cracked earth as explosions rippled through the air like thunderclaps. The Greek forces were closing in from all sides, their roars and shouts merging into a deafening cacophony that threatened to drown out every other sound. Liam's heart hammered in his chest, each beat a reminder of what was at stake. His eyes darted across the field, searching for any opening, any weakness in the enemy's relentless advance. Every breath was ragged, coated with dust and sweat, but he refused to falter. They had come too far, fought too hard, to be defeated now. Krill, sprinting beside him, was surprisingly upbeat, his voice rising above the din. "Hey, Liam, you ever think about what we're gonna do when this is all over? Maybe open a bakery. Duraxian delights, I like the sound of that." His teasing tone was a thin veneer over the tension that hung thick in the air. Liam shot him a sharp look, but even he couldn't suppress a smile. "Focus, Krill. Save the baking for after we're alive. Right now, we need to push through." Krill chuckled, firing his plasma rifle at a group of advancing Greek soldiers. "No worries, Captain. I've got your back, in your future bakery plans, apparently." Suddenly, the distant crackle of a radio broke through the chaos. "This is Captain Mira," her voice crisp and commanding. "Enemy reinforcements are arriving from the north. We need to hold until reinforcements arrive. Stay sharp, everyone." Her tone was steady, but Liam could detect an undercurrent of urgency. Every squad member responded instinctively, taking cover behind debris with weapons at the ready. The situation was spiraling quickly. Their defenses were stretched thin, and the enemy seemed more ferocious than ever. The Greek soldiers fought with a desperation that matched their own, and Liam knew that this was more than just a battle of guns and bombs. It was a clash of wills. An explosion nearby sent a shockwave that knocked Liam off balance. Debris rained down, and he barely managed to keep his footing. "They're trying to crush us," he shouted, voice strained but resolute. "Don't let them. Keep fighting." The squad responded with a barrage of gunfire, pushing back against the wave of enemies. Liam's eyes caught sight of a wounded ally clutching a bleeding arm, struggling to crawl to safety. His stomach clenched with guilt and anger. Every life was precious, and he knew they couldn't afford to lose anyone. Krill, panting heavily but still grinning, looked over at Liam. "I've got a bad feeling, Liam. These Greeks aren't just fighting. They're fighting like their lives depend on it. Maybe they're hiding something darker, something bigger. We need to be prepared for surprises." Liam nodded grimly. "Then we give them hell, and we do it smartly. No ridiculous moves. We hold this line, no matter what." Out of the corner of his eye, Liam noticed a large Greek war beast breaking through a pile of wreckage, a hulking creature with glowing red eyes and claws that shimmered like razors. It roared deafeningly as it charged toward them, chaos incarnate. "Krill, watch out!" Liam shouted just as the beast swung its massive paw. Krill dove to the side, narrowly avoiding a deadly swipe, and laughed shakily. "Well, I always wanted to be a hero in a monster movie. Maybe I should get a pet war beast after this. Think I'd be a good dad." His joke was a brief spark of humor amidst the storm, momentarily easing Liam's tension. The beast roared again, stomping through the debris and snarling fiercely. Liam raised his rifle and fired a precise shot into its shoulder. The creature bellowed in pain and staggered back, giving the squad a precious moment to regroup. The firefight raged on, and Liam's mind was racing. This was only the beginning. Reinforcements continued to pour in, the enemy relentless and unyielding. The stakes had never been higher. He clenched his fists and steeled himself, voice steady but fierce. "We're not done yet. Not by a long shot. We hold this ground and fight for every inch, for every person counting on us. We're the last line of defense, and we're not giving up." His words ignited a spark in his squad, a fierce resolve that burned brighter than ever. Krill, still grinning, raised his weapon. "Then let's give him everything we've got. Time to turn this nightmare into our victory story." The squad surged forward, a tidal wave of defiance and strength amid the destruction. Every shot, every step, every breath was an act of rebellion against despair. They fought not just to survive, but to carve their story into history. A story of resilience, courage, and unbreakable spirit. Liam knew that whatever was coming next, they would face it together, fighting tooth and nail, unbowed, unstoppable. The battle raged on, echoing their unwavering resolve to see this through to the end. The battlefield had turned into a chaos-ridden nightmare, with smoke billowing into the sky and the ground trembling beneath their feet. Liam's squad pressed on, their weapons blazing, each member fighting with a ferocity born from desperation. The Greek reinforcements had arrived in full force, their ranks swelling like a tidal wave ready to drown everything in its path. Every soldier knew this was their final stand, the weight of hope, fear, and determination crushed into a single, explosive moment. Liam's heart pounded like a war drum, every breath ragged and shallow as he dodged a barrage of enemy fire. His eyes flicked across his team, searching for any sign of weakness or a way to turn the tide. Krill was still cracking jokes amid the chaos, his voice somehow cutting through the deafening noise. "Hey, Liam, I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to be a hero in a big Hollywood battle. Think I'd make the cover of some epic magazine. Krill, the unstoppable, what do you say?" His grin was wide, eyes gleaming with adrenaline as he fired bursts of plasma at the advancing soldiers. Liam shot him a quick glare, but couldn't suppress a smile. "Save the heroics for after we survive, Krill. Right now, I need you to stay alive so we can argue about which of us is the real hero." Krill chuckled, twirling his weapon. "Oh, I plan to be both, Captain. But no promises, I won't steal the spotlight." Suddenly, a radio crackled to life, and Captain Mira's voice cut through the chaos with crisp authority. "All units, hold your positions. The Greeks are pushing hard, but we're not giving up. Reinforcements are en route, but we need to buy time. Stay sharp, stay alive." Her voice was firm, unwavering, a beacon of calm amid the storm. Liam responded with a sharp nod, even though she couldn't see him. His squad responded in kind, taking cover behind wreckage and firing in coordinated bursts. Every second felt like a lifetime. Every move could be their last. The enemy's desperation grew as they threw everything they had: grenades, war beasts, relentless soldiers, trying to break their line. An explosion nearby shook the earth, debris flying everywhere. Liam stumbled, instinctively dropping to the ground, his ears ringing. "They're trying to crush us," he shouted, voice strained but resolute. "Don't let them. Keep fighting." His squad responded with renewed energy, their weapons blazing in unison. Liam's eyes caught sight of a young soldier, clutching his side, blood seeping through his fingers. Liam's stomach clenched painfully. Every life lost was a blow, a wound on their collective spirit. He clenched his fists, fighting back the rising tide of despair. Krill, breathing heavily but still grinning, leaned over to Liam. "You know, I've got a bad feeling about this. These Greeks are fighting like their lives depend on it." "Wait, scratch that. They're fighting like their lives depend on it. I think they've got something hidden up their sleeves, something darker than just soldiers. We need to be prepared for surprises." Liam nodded grimly, his jaw clenched. "Then we fight smarter. We hold this line, no matter what they throw at us. We're not giving up, no way." His voice was fierce, rallying his team to stand firm. Out of the corner of his eye, Liam saw a hulking Greek war beast crashing through the wreckage. A monstrous creature with glowing red eyes and claws that shimmered like blades. It roared deafeningly, charging straight at them with terrifying speed. "Krill, watch out!" Liam shouted, just as the beast swung its massive paw. Krill dove to the side, narrowly avoiding a deadly swipe, and looked back with a nervous laugh. "Hey, I always wanted to be a hero in a monster movie. Maybe I should get a pet war beast after this. Think I'd be a good dad." His joke, though seemingly out of place, was like a splash of color in the storm of chaos. momentarily easing the tension. The beast roared again, stomping through debris, claws slashing fiercely. Liam fired a well-aimed shot into its shoulder, causing it to bellow in pain. The creature staggered back, giving the squad a brief respite. Liam's mind raced. This fight was far from over. Reinforcements kept pouring in, their numbers seemingly endless. The enemy's desperation was palpable, their fury unrelenting. Liam's voice cut through the noise, steady and commanding. "We're not done yet. Fight for every inch, for every person counting on us. We're the last line. Don't let them break us. We got this." His words ignited a renewed fire in his squad, a collective roar of defiance. Krill, still grinning, raised his weapon. "Then let's give him hell. Time to turn this nightmare into our victory story." The squad surged forward, a tidal wave of resolve crashing against the chaos. Every shot, every step, every breath was an act of rebellion, a testament to their resilience. They fought not just for survival, but to carve their legacy into the fabric of history, a story of courage, sacrifice, and unbreakable spirit. Liam knew that whatever came next, they would face it together, unyielding and fierce. The battle raged on, but so did their determination, echoing in every shot fired and every heartbeat. The chaos on the battlefield reached a fever pitch, explosions echoing like thunderclaps, soldiers shouting and firing in every direction. Liam's squad fought with every ounce of strength they had left, their movements a blur of determination and desperation. The enemy forces, relentless and unyielding, pushed forward like an unstoppable tide, but Liam refused to let them break through. His jaw tightened as he barked orders, eyes scanning the battlefield for any sign of hope. Every second felt like a lifetime, each decision critical. One wrong move could spell disaster, but they had come too far to give up now. Krill, ever the joker, kept firing with one hand while tossing a quick quip. "Hey Liam, if we survive this, I'm opening that bakery I keep talking about. Krill's Confections, you know, sweet treats for heroes like us." His grin was wide, eyes gleaming with adrenaline. Liam shot him a quick glare, but the corner of his mouth twitched into a faint smile. "Save the bakery plans for after the fight, Krill. Right now, I need you alive to help me finish this mess." Krill chuckled, taking cover behind a wrecked vehicle. "No worries, Captain. I've got your back, and your future pastry empire." Suddenly, the radio crackled to life, Captain Mira's voice cutting through the chaos with commanding clarity. "All units fall back to the secondary perimeter. Reinforcements are arriving, but we need to hold the line until then. Keep fighting, everyone." Her tone was steady but urgent, a lifeline amid the storm. Liam responded with a quick nod, though she couldn't see him. His squad responded in unison, taking cover behind debris and firing bursts that echoed through the battlefield. The enemy was closing in, their desperation fueling a frenzy of attacks. Grenades exploding, war beasts roaring, and soldiers screaming as they fought tooth and nail. An explosion rocked the ground nearby, sending a shockwave that threw Liam off balance. He staggered, clutching his side instinctively as dust and debris clouded the air. "They're trying to wipe us out," he shouted, voice raw but filled with steel resolve. "Hold your ground. Don't let them break us." His squad responded with renewed firepower, pushing back against the advancing enemy ranks. Liam's eyes caught sight of a young soldier, struggling to drag himself to safety, blood pouring from a wound. His heart clenched painfully. Each life lost was a blow to the entire team's spirit. He clenched his fists so tightly his knuckles turned white, fighting back the gnawing fear that they might not all make it out alive. Krill, panting but grinning like a madman, leaned over to Liam. "You know, I've had a sneaking suspicion about these Greeks. They're fighting like their lives depend on it. Wait, no. They're fighting for something darker, something bigger. We need to stay alert, Captain. I think secrets are hiding behind all this chaos." Liam nodded grimly, eyes narrowing. "Then we fight smarter. No ridiculous moves. We keep this position no matter what. We're not leaving anyone behind. Not today." His voice was fierce, rallying his squad for the final push. Suddenly, a hulking Greek war beast burst through the wreckage, its glowing red eyes piercing the smoke. Its claws shimmered like razors, and it roared deafeningly as it charged straight at them. "Krill, watch out!" Liam yelled just as the beast swung its massive paw. Krill dove to the side, narrowly avoiding a deadly swipe, and looked back with a nervous laugh. "Well, I always wanted to be a hero in a monster flick. Maybe I should get a pet war beast after this. Think I'd be a good dad." His joke was a brief moment of levity in the storm of chaos, a reminder of their humanity amid the madness. The beast roared again, stomping through the debris with ferocious intent, claws slashing wildly. Liam fired a precise shot into its shoulder, causing it to bellow in pain and stagger back. The creature's roar echoed across the battlefield, but Liam knew this fight was far from over. Reinforcements kept pouring in, their numbers seemingly endless, and the enemy's fury only intensified. Liam's voice cut through the din, steady and commanding. "We're not done yet. Fight for every inch, for every person counting on us. We are the last line. Don't let them break us." His words ignited a renewed fire in his squad, a collective roar of defiance that echoed through the chaos. Krill, still grinning, raised his weapon. "Then let's give him everything we've got. Time to turn this nightmare into a victory story." The squad surged forward, a tidal wave of resilience crashing against the enemy ranks. Every shot, every step, every breath became an act of rebellion, a testament to their unbreakable spirit. Liam knew that the road ahead was still treacherous, but he also knew they would face anything together. Their unity was their strength, and their courage was their shield. As the battle raged on, so did their determination, fierce, unyielding, and defiant. They fought not just to survive, but to forge their legacy in the ashes of war, knowing that this was their moment to stand tall and fight for everything they believed in. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and as always, keep the last light burning.